7 signs you're dark chosen one, followed by the demonic ambassadors. If you've stumbled upon this message, there is a reason. Very few people carry the kind of weight that you carry, and even fewer are willing to face it. You've probably felt it your whole life. That sense that you're not like others, that there's something watching you, shadowing your every step. Sometimes it feels like a curse, sometimes like a calling, but deep down, you know you are not here to live an ordinary life. You are a dark chosen one, and with that identity comes a terrifying yet sacred truth. You are followed, tested, and constantly watched by the demonic ambassadors of the unseen realms. Not because you are weak, but because your strength terrifies them. The first thing we need to establish is why the dark chosen one is different from the light chosen one. Light chosen ones often walk with angels, with protectors of clarity and divine reassurance. Dark chosen ones, however, are thrown into the storm. You are not coddled. You are confronted. You don't get easy signs. You get trials that rip your soul open. And this is why the demonic ambassadors are drawn to you. They sense your potential to cross dimensions, to influence people, to alter the course of energy in this world. They surround you not only to destroy you, but also to recruit you, to bend you, to see if you'll collapse under pressure.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Have you noticed how chaos follows you more than others? Not just the usual life struggles, but patterns of betrayal, sudden losses, moments when it feels like unseen hands are pulling the rug out from under you. This is no accident. Demonic ambassadors have no reason to follow the powerless. They stalk only those who pose a threat to their agenda. If your life has been marked by storms that feel bigger than you, that is sign number 1. You are being tested because you are powerful. The second sign is that your dreams are never just dreams. While others may see random fragments at night, your dreams are portals, battlegrounds, messages. You may have experienced sleep paralysis, where you feel a presence pinning you down, or vivid encounters where you meet shadowy figures whispering words you can't quite remember upon waking. These aren't accidents. They are demonic ambassadors probing you in the realm of sleep, trying to weaken your defenses. They know that if you can master your dream world, you will master your waking world too. Have you ever asked yourself why your dreams feel more real than reality itself? Why they leave you shaken, empowered, or drained the next day? That's because you are not just dreaming. You are traveling. The third sign is the constant presence of mirrors in your life, but not the physical glass ones, the human mirrors. Dark chosen ones attract people who seem to embody your own darkness, reflecting your wounds back at you. You might constantly meet manipulators, liars, or people who wear masks, and at first you think it's bad luck. But eventually you realize these encounters are not coincidences. They are orchestrated confrontations designed by unseen forces to make you face your own shadows. The demonic ambassadors use these people as pawns, testing your boundaries. Will you fall into the same traps, or will you rise above? The fourth sign is isolation. Have you ever wondered why so often you feel alone, even in a crowded room? Why friends drift away? Why family doesn't quite understand you? Why love feels like a battlefield? This isolation is not because you're unworthy. It's because the path of the dark chosen one demands solitude. Demonic ambassadors know that if they can make you feel completely alone, They might break you, but what they don't realize is that your solitude is where your power grows. When the noise fades, you learn to hear the whisper of your true self. When the world abandons you, you discover that you were never meant to belong to it, that loneliness you fear is actually the furnace where your strength is forged. The fifth sign is the constant dance with temptation. Dark chosen ones are followed not just with suffering, but with offers of shortcuts, of easy pleasures, of power gained without effort. You might feel drawn toward destructive habits, relationships that drain your energy, or sudden opportunities that glitter but carry hidden traps. These temptations are not random. They are carefully placed by demonic ambassadors to see if you will betray your own soul. Have you noticed how often life presents you with exactly what your lower self craves at the exact moment you are weakest? That's not life. It's a test. And every choice you make either chains you deeper into the shadows or frees you to ascend higher. The sixth sign is sensitivity to energies. You walk into a room and instantly feel the tension, the hidden hostility, the unspoken pain. Crowds overwhelm you, negativity clings to you, and sometimes you feel drained without explanation. This isn't weakness, it's radar. You are tuned to frequencies others can't detect. But that sensitivity is exactly why demonic ambassadors follow you, because they know you can expose them. You see through lies. You feel the hidden intentions. You sense the presence of forces others ignore. That awareness makes you dangerous to their agenda. The question is, are you mastering it, or is it mastering you? The seventh sign is transformation through suffering. While others collapse under their pain, you transform. Every betrayal makes you sharper. Every heartbreak makes you deeper. Every loss becomes fuel for your ascension. The demonic ambassadors throw flames at you and you learn to walk through fire. They bury you in darkness and you grow roots that drink from the void. This ability to alchemize pain into power is the ultimate mark of the dark chosen one. It is why you are feared, why you are followed, why you are tested again and again. Now let me ask you, when you look back at your life, do you see the thread connecting all these storms? Do you see how your suffering was never random, how your solitude was never pointless, how your temptations were never innocent? Can you feel that you've been followed, not to be destroyed, but to be refined? That every shadow trying to break you has actually shaped you into something unbreakable? Because if you can recognize these signs, then you are ready for the next level of truth. The truth of why the demonic ambassadors target dark chosen ones with such intensity. The deeper reasons hidden behind this pursuit, and the terrifying role you play in the cosmic balance. Why the dark chosen one threatens the balance of worlds and becomes the prime target of demonic ambassadors. There is a reason the unseen forces do not simply ignore you. You are a fulcrum, a lever in the cosmic machinery, and anything that can tip the balance will be hunted. The demonic ambassadors are not mindless monsters. They are strategic agents of imbalance, patterns, influences, and intelligences that thrive on separation, distraction, and self-betrayal. You, as a dark chosen one, carry the opposite potential. You can transmute pain into clarity, betrayal into discernment, isolation into radical autonomy. That capacity frightens them because it undoes their food chain. When you begin to reclaim your shadow, when you refuse the easy compromises that keep systems in place, You no longer feed the invisible architectures that profit from human fear. In practical terms, this is why their tactics are consistent across time and culture. They test your boundaries, amplify your wounds, tempt you with counterfeit power, and try to isolate you from sources of real support. They seek to short-circuit your trajectory by turning your gifts into liabilities. But here's the key truth that most never speak aloud. Being targeted is proof of relevance. If you were irrelevant, nothing would chase you. So the first thing to accept is this disorienting compliment. The persecution you experience marks you as consequential. Now let's get concrete about their methods so you can recognize them and refuse them. The ambassadors operate through duplication and mimicry. They imitate wisdom but carry no integrity. They present shortcuts disguised as destiny, and they dress chaos as liberation. They will whisper that you must seize power now, that your pain justifies radical retribution, that the fastest path to strength is to mirror the cruelty that hurt you. That is the seduction of the dark lie. The antidote is ritualized discernment. Slow down, test the impulse, and name the outcome you truly desire. Ask yourself, will this choice expand my capacity for presence, or will it tighten my need to be seen? Will it free me to serve, or will it bind me to a new dependency disguised as success? Keep a small workbook or a voice note where you write the pattern and evidence. This is not superstition, it's data gathering about what truly strengthens you. They also come as people, carriers of reflection, who intentionally mirror your shadows to pull you into reactivity. You will encounter lovers who mirror your abandonment, friends who reenact familiar betrayals, mentors who replicate past authority wounds. When you see repetition, treat it as an assignment. What in you requires witnessing? Use the practical tool of boundary mapping. Name the role this person plays in your drama, set a time-limited boundary, and test whether compassion or alignment is possible. If the pattern continues, remove the piece from the board. Boundaries are not cruelty, they are spiritual hygiene. They starve the ambassador's influence because these entities depend on your unregulated availability. Another tactic is fatigue, psychic exhaustion engineered through small, repeated drains. Subtle criticisms, micro-betrayals, draining relationships, overwork that looks noble. The remedy is disciplined restoration. Schedule non-negotiable windows of rest, somatic grounding, walking barefoot, cold water, breath holds, and a no-complaint ritual where you replace 1 hour of complaint with 3 acts of care for your nervous system. Fatigue makes you impulsive. Rest makes you discerning. Simple, effective, non-negotiable. There is wisdom in community, yet the demonic ambassadors will push you toward isolation because alone you are easier to bend. Build a triad. 1 elder for feedback, 1 peer for discipline, 1 healer for resetting. Rotate them, pay them, commit publicly. This makes your growth accountable and prevents charismatic predators from slipping in under the guise of support. Practical ceremony works, monthly check-ins, written reports, small initiation acts. These prove you're serious and make you less malleable. Finally, the deepest weapon against these ambassadors is the repeated practice of integrating shadow into service. Every time you alchemize an injury into teaching, a wound into art, a betrayal into map, you reduce their leverage. Ask the fierce question, what part of my suffering, if healed, would most undermine the work of forces that feed on division. Answer honestly and then begin daily micro-practices to shift that area. 10 minutes of targeted reflection, 1 act of restitution, 1 disciplined boundary. Over time, these micro-practices compound into immunity. So we come to the ultimate test. Will you treat the pursuit as persecution or as proof of purpose? The demonic ambassadors will always follow those who matter. The choice you have is how to respond: by shrinking, by retaliating, or by becoming a refined instrument of presence. Which will you choose? The inner covenant, how you command the ambassadors, convert darkness into dominion, and build an unbreakable soul engine. We are now standing at the heart of the work. This is where theory becomes weaponized grace. You've seen the signs, you've learned why they follow you, and now you need the inner architecture that turns relentless pursuit into disciplined power. Listen, being a dark chosen one is less about grand theatrics and more about making a covenant with yourself so ironclad that no ambassador, no whisper, no temptation, no stage betrayal can pry you off your path. The inner covenant begins with naming. Name every recurring wound, every pattern the ambassadors keep replaying. Write them down in bloodless clinical terms: abandonment, betrayal, shame, need for approval. When we name, we stop being haunted by ghosts and start doing surgery. Then we map the symptom to its trigger. Who, what, when, how does this pattern ignite? This is not catharsis, this is intelligence gathering. Next, you must convert reaction into ritual. The ambassadors love spontaneity because they thrive on your raw, unprocessed responses. So turn their favorite fuel, your impulsive pain, into a set of rituals that redirect energy. When you feel rage rising, don't explode. Perform a 3-minute ritual. Stand, stamp your feet twice, exhale through sound, and speak 1 sentence of reclaiming. This pain will not own me, it will teach me. When shame floods you, immediately write 1 truth in 1 sentence and fold it into a small box you keep on your altar. Rituals are small contracts your nervous system trusts. Repetition rewires your biology. Do not underestimate the mundane power of disciplined small acts. Boundaries become sacred, practiced immovable and compassionate. The ambassadors exploit porous borders. So create levels of boundary: physical, space, touch; temporal, no contact windows; emotional, topics you will not argue about; and spiritual, no unsolicited help from charismatic strangers. Train your yes and your no like a muscle. A yes given reluctantly is a no in disguise. A no that feels disrespectful is a boundary that needs recalibration. Test boundaries publicly. Tell one person you will call them only twice a week, then do it. Proven reliability trains both your community and your nervous system to respect you. We must also institutionalize rest. The demonic tactic of fatigue is simple math. Wear you down, then make you foolish. Build sacred recovery blocks. 3 60-minute periods each week where nothing related to productivity, obligation, or spiritual labor is allowed. Use those pockets for sleep, nature, touch, and laughter. Recovery is not indulgence, it is the maintenance of sovereignty. Without it, your discernment dulls, and the ambassadors begin to sound like your inner voice. Shadow alchemy is the crown skill. This is where you take a wound and deliberately transmute it into public service. The process is practical. Identify the wound, extract the lesson, shape an offering. Example, if betrayal taught you hard-earned discernment, craft a micro course, a talk, an essay, or even a single Instagram message that teaches simple boundary literacy. Publish it imperfectly. The ambassadors fear public transformation because it shrinks their domain. When your private pain becomes collective medicine, their leverage dissolves. Service is not virtue signaling, it is strategic immunity. Create a radical accountability scaffold. 3 people, 3 roles. An elder who speaks truth without flattery, a peer who keeps you honest in practice, and a craftsman, therapist, coach, ritualist, who helps you translate growth into skill. Pay them, schedule them, and rotate them every 3 months. This prevents charismatic parasites and keeps your trajectory exponential rather than circular. Finally, make a legalistic vow to your future self. Write it, sign it, and place it where you will see it at your lowest moment. The vow should be ironclad and specific: what you will never do, what you will always do, and one fierce clause about turning every manipulation into a lesson within 72 hours. This vow is not superstition, it is the juridical act that re-registers your soul under a new law. Your law. Ask yourself now, if the ambassadors are testing your capacity to remain sovereign, where in you still offers easy leverage? Where do you still trade presence for approval? Where do you secretly hunger for revenge disguised as justice? Answer honestly, and then begin tomorrow with 1 ritual, 1 boundary, 1 rest block, and 1 public act of alchemy. Start small, start steady, start relentless. From chosen to champion, leading the shadowed masses without becoming what you fight. When the path finally bends from surviving into leading, you step into a terrain where strategy matters as much as soul. You are no longer only the one who endures the ambushes of the demonic ambassadors, you are the one who must shepherd others through theirs without becoming the very force you oppose. This is the final test and the highest art: to transform your suffering into structures that protect, teach, and expand, while keeping your hands clean of revenge, ego, and coercion. First, understand leadership as service, not spectacle. The Dark Chosen One becomes a champion only when the agenda shifts from proving how powerful you are to proving how useful you are. Ask yourself, if every scar on your body could be turned into a map for 1 lost soul, what map would you draw first? Start there. Concretely, create 3 pillars for your leadership: protection, practice, and propagation. Protection means building systems that reduce harm for those you lead, clear boundaries, vetted communities, and enforced rest for activists and seekers alike. Design a simple intake ritual for anyone you mentor, an on-page covenant that spells out privacy, respect, scope, and mutual responsibilities. This small act raises the cultural IQ of your circle and denies demonic tactics the confusion they rely on. Practice is your daily curriculum. You cannot lead what you do not practice. Commit publicly to 3 micro-practices: 10 minutes of grounding breath, a weekly shame mapping journal, and a monthly restitution act, and ask your community. Propagation is the alchemy of scale. How do you turn individual healing into social resilience? Teach frameworks, not just feelings. Give people templates for boundary mapping, for shadow to service conversion, for fatigue management. Publish them imperfectly, Share them in short, repeatable formats. The demonic ambassadors fear replication because replication collapses their leverage. Second, institutionalize anti-corruption measures. Power corrupts in the small, daily ways. An unchecked compliment becomes entitlement. A tolerated boundary breach becomes permission for predation. Build rotating accountability, quarterly reviews with an elder, a peer council that has veto power, and a public ledger of decisions you make that affect the group. Transparency is not about exhibitionism, it's disease prevention. Prevensa, prevents. Third, practice restorative conflict rather than vengeance. When someone in your circle betrays trust, design a process that requires truth-telling, restitution, and skill building rather than exile or public shaming. The ambassadors feed on spectacle. Restoration starves them. Fourth, cultivate emotional literacy at scale. Teach your people to name triggers, to map the physiology of shame and rage, and to practice immediate grounding rituals. Simple somatic sequences that interrupt hijack before reactivity becomes ruin. Train 3 community members as first responders to emotional storms, so support is immediate and not reliant on a single charismatic center. Fifth, lead with curiosity, not certainty. The dark chosen one is tempted to assume they alone see the truth. This breeds dogma. Instead, publish your hypotheses, invite dissent, and treat critique as raw data. Your openness becomes a filter. True allies stay and engage. Predators move on. Sixth, design exit ramps. Not everyone will grow with you. Create dignified separation processes so people who harm the field can leave without causing spirals of recrimination. This is governance by compassion, which is both strategic and humane. Seventh, remember to celebrate ordinary life. Leaders who never laugh, never play, become hollow idols. Schedule communal joy, meals, music, informal gatherings, so the field accumulates pleasure as an immune system against burnout. Finally, hold a daily micro-vow to the future. At dawn, place your hand on your heart and declare one sentence that contains both humility and commitment. I lead to heal, not to control. Repeat it until your nervous system remembers. If you do these things, you transform pursuit into purpose and persecution into pedagogy. So now ask yourself the deepest question of leadership. Will you accept the burden of guiding others through their shadows in a way that magnifies life rather than amplifies fear? The world will test you, the ambassadors will circle, but if you choose structures over theatrics, practice over pronouncements, and restoration over revenge, you will not only survive, you will forge a movement that the shadows cannot swallow.